What's up, everyone? Good morning again. It's your host, Carlos Ponce at Advancio Talks. And this is episode 23 of Advancio Talks. We're live. And today we got Tim Cakir. I hope I got that right. He trained me well and at the beginning when we were out the air and how to pronounce it correctly, right? And yes, he is from AI Operator. I'm gonna let him introduce himself in a minute. And if you're just discovering us, well, welcome to the show. And if you've been here since the beginning, well, you know what we're about. So, Advancio Talks is where we sit down with the people actually building the future of business and technology, and not just talking about it, but doing it. You know, CTOs, founders, and the folks actually making the decisions that matter. So, whether you're drinking coffee, or commuting or just curious about what's actually happening in tech, stick around. Tim has got stories and insights you will not hear anywhere else. So that being said, let's jump right in. Tim, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much, Carlos, for having me. And as we teased before, I gotta do that now. It's like, hey, hello, everybody.
There you go.
I always forget to do that. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
No, it's a pleasure to have you to talk about. I believe we're going to be, of course, your company is called AI Operators. So predictably, we're going to be discussing AI from a bunch of angles, right? And but before we go there, tell us a little bit about your company. Tell what is AI Operator?
Yeah, of course. And yes, we are going to speak about AI. We can speak about gardening, music, other things as well. But I think today's topic is AI. So AI operator, as it says on the tin, is actually what we do is we help businesses operationalize AI. And we do that right now with our flagship service, which is our training program. We have a 12-week AI first mindset training program where we take the whole company, employees, team members, from scratch or from wherever they are in their AI journey, and we take them throughout 12 weeks. We make them champions in using AI tools like ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, or Claude. And our program is called a mindset training program because we believe that it's a shift in how we work. We have to redesign how we work.
Mhm.
This is bigger than electricity. This is bigger than fire, and we haven't even understood that yet. I think that we're all slowly like seeing crazy things. Like last week, Gemini 3 Pro even like just blew our minds off, right? And there
Right.
is more coming. There's more coming. It's not even Christmas yet, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, as we were getting ready for the conversation, and I was thinking about the questions that I will be asking you, and I got a lot because, of course, I'm no expert on AI. You probably noticed that when I created the promo.
Yeah, I looked old. I looked old in
Yeah,
that photo.
so I'm no expert on AI by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just a layman. So from that, I'm going to ask my question
Mhm.
for me to better understand what all this AI game is. So, and I do remember that you mentioned pilot purgatory. So, what is the biggest reason companies get stuck experimenting with AI but never really scaling it across their organizations?
Mhm. I mean, not scaling from an organization. I'm not sure if I understand your question clearly, though. If you could kind of
Yeah,
rephrase it louder.
yeah. When we were discussing about
Mhm.
today's topics, you
Mhm.
mentioned pilot purgatory. Actually, that's how
Yeah.
the the
Yep.
the well. Let me put it this way. What is the biggest reasons companies get stuck experimenting with AI but
Yeah.
never scaling it across their organizations?
Yeah, I think. I mean, thank you very much for rephrasing it because I mean, the pilot purgatory. Yes, there's two aspects to it, right? So first of all, when we say pilot purgatory, I think it's a lot of people think about more the technical side of things, and it's like, oh, we're building a workflow, an agent, and it doesn't go to commercializing it, right, or operationalizing it. But we look at it from a very different perspective here at AI Operator as well. Is if you don't have the people that are trained on AI and that understands about AI and they don't understand the strengths and their weaknesses, they're going to get super excited and they're going to build until 70% or 60%. And they're just going to give up because they're not going to see the rest, which is the 30-40% missing in quality of the output or on that. So it's what I've seen all the time, or many times, right? Leads that come and the conversations that we have is they're like, hey, I want AI in my business. Okay, great. Where do you want? I want this agent that is going to do these incredible things. And then it's like, okay, but is your team using, ChatGPT? They're like, yeah, some people have some personal accounts. It's like, oh, okay. So you don't even have a business account where you're all contribute to building custom GPTs, to building projects together. You're not contributing together as a business, as a team in operationalizing AI at the end of the day, right? And what happens is that then, the leader, the CEO or the CTO comes in and says, hey, we have to get AI and this is a project we're going to do. But you don't have anybody's buy-in because they have zero clue about AI. And also what I always say, they fear AI. Right? There's a lot of fear there
Hmm.
about AI. So we come from a love, not fear aspect. If everybody's trained on AI and everybody understands AI and they use AI every day and they make it their friend, what happens suddenly they go, oh, okay, well, now I understand that project and it's not to replace me, but it's to augment me, right? And when you have that, you're going to have the buy-in of everybody. And if you have the buy-in of everybody, this is where you're going to be able to scale your AI projects, right? So I think that there is a lot of fear. And by the way, this is not the leader's fault neither. It's the media, it's the news, it's everything that we see out there is pushed down on us because negative news travels faster than positive news, right? And so the leaders are also like, oh shit, I need to do something about this, and they push
Hmm.
it from top to bottom, and from top to bottom is not working, right? We're going to meet halfway, and we are going to get everybody from bottom up, train them, and get the leader to even use these tools themselves and make mistakes themselves and show it to their team that they're using and they're making mistakes and they're not getting 100% quality, right? Because when that happens, you're meeting halfway, and when you meet halfway, you're starting to standardize the knowledge of AI and of
Hmm.
people using AI. And when that happens, you are suddenly a whole team pro AI, understanding the weaknesses, especially, right? Because that's where you want the human, but also understanding the strengths of AI. And the second that happens, that pilot purgatory and the adoption increases massively.
And I believe that have like a what 75% team adoption rate is impressive, right? So that's I think it's
Mhm.
impressive compared to the what 25,
23 or
23%,
25, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
23% industry average. So what is the secret to getting teams genuinely excited about AI instead of resistant?
I think it's so what happens? It's not even a secret. I'm going to say it. It's definitely not a secret. It's actually very simple. Is when your company comes in and the CEO and the leadership is like, oh, we're going to do AI, and they want to do AI, and you're like, oh shit, okay, another topic about AI, right? And then the leader shows how they use AI. That's great. That's a good step, but it's it still has a lot of risk, and you're like, oh shit, I need to use AI because if not, I'm in trouble, kind of thing, right? And everybody's been telling me, and the media has been telling us 100 million jobs are going to be lost by 2030 and so on. And am I going to be one of those? And we all feel that we're going to be one of those 100 million people, right? Because it's a big number actually when you think about it. But in the world there are 8 billion people. Let's not forget that, right?
Mhm.
So it's not a secret. It's a leader hiring a company like mine, hiring me, right? Contracting me to come in and spend 12 weeks, 1 hour a week, with also 1 to 2 hours of weekly assignments outside the 1 hour a week, gives hope for everybody, first of all, and it gives them excitement because it's like, oh, my company is actually spending money on upskilling me with a real professional, right? That is coming from outside. Okay. That's like the first thing already, like, oh, okay. So my company is taking this seriously and they are upskilling me. They're spending money, they're spending time on making sure that I learn this AI thing and that I use it better. That already is a positive aspect. But also, what happens is that you get this crazy guy, right? So I'm doing most of I'm doing all trainings at the moment, right? And you get this crazy guy, which is me, and I call it the AI show, right? I come in and I excite everybody, right?
Hmm.
I come in, I share my screen, and I talk what's possible, what's not, what are the features, what I've done, and then then it's custom also to the companies, right? So then I show them how they could do their job or how I would do their job now with AI. Right. Even if I don't
Hmm.
know exactly their job inside out, I have a survey. I survey everybody. Right. We survey everybody. And then we have all the pain points, and I know the pain points, and they're like, okay, I know these pain points, so then I show how I would tackle that pain point with my new AI skills, and everybody goes like, oh wow, shit, like he did that in 15 minutes, I do that in 5 hours, right? And then they're like, okay, that's crazy, right? And then they learn that and they practice, they fail a few times, but by week 4 5 maximum 6, we have huge return on investment. We get minimum 3 to 5 hours per person of saving the time a week, right? But also the happiness of employees goes from here to here. They're like, oh my God, all that news about negative stuff, I know, I use it, I'm much more productive. And now I have the skills everybody needs me because I know how to use AI. Right. So we're
Hmm.
going really from a mindset, from a culture, from a love perspective. That's what we do. And when we do that, really, we are seeing, very high return on investment very quickly.
Right, and I understand you've also trained teams at quite large companies, right? We're talking like big players like Google, Recharge. So, in that context, what are the most common skill gaps you see when companies try to adopt AI at scale?
Okay. I think that the skills gap. I think it's the first thing is nobody uses the basic features of whatever tool they're using, right? And then they treat these AI tools like a Google search. Even Google
Mhm.
themselves, I've trained Google teams on Gemini, and they still treat Gemini like a Google search. They ask a question, they get an answer, right? So not many starts thinking about multi-step approach. First of all, chain of thoughts, right? To actually take 45 minutes, put it on your calendar and spend that time with ChatGPT and have on your calendar in the event what you're going to do, right? And spend 45 minutes. Don't say, okay, I'm going to ask this and just get it done. No, say, in 45 minutes, I'm going to try to prepare my Q4 goals, right? And in 45 minutes, where are you going to get with that Q4 goals? It's quite incredible. It might have taken you a couple of days, maybe even a week, right? And you're going to get that in 45 minutes, right? So not many people actually proactively think about what they're going to do, right? And they're acting very reactively. They're like, oh, let me ask a question to ChatGPT. And it's like, ChatGPT is not there just for question, right? It's gone so much better, right? And then we don't use the features, as I was saying. Now, we don't set up our ChatGPT. We don't set up our Gemini. We don't have the custom instructions. It doesn't know about us. Nobody, like maybe 80% or maybe even more of the people that I start the training with has no clue that ChatGPT has memory, right? They're like, oh yeah, it remembers things about me. And I'm like, yeah, well, in settings, there's a memory feature and it saves a bunch of information about you, right? And you can delete those. And they're like, yeah, but I don't want this. I'm like, okay, well, you can delete some, right? You have temporary chat. You have a lot of things that we don't think.
Hmm.
And the second we start thinking about just the basics, you're already getting incredible return on not the investment, but return on your conversation. I would say return
Hmm.
on your prompt, right? Return on your prompt. I gotta note that down, right? Return on your prompt. I think I'm gonna use this. Thank you. So they get high return on your prompt, right? Because now they're like, oh, okay, it gets me better. It has custom instructions. It knows your role. You know the memory now. It knows about you, so you've cleaned it up, right? And suddenly you're like, okay, this is a friend now. This is an assistant, right? Because people doesn't see it as a real assistant. They just see it as a tool that is going to answer their questions. But no, it's a thinking partner. It's really a coach. It's so many other things that I could just spend hours just telling you what it is.
Hmm. Hmm. And from what I'm hearing is that, especially if you pay attention to social media and especially certain professional platforms like LinkedIn and such, all the you watch all the feed and all that. So there's a lot of companies that are trying to label themselves as what I would loosely call AI leader. Right? So it's like they're kind of jumping into the AI. Let's put it this way: they're jumping into the AI bandwagon. to place themselves as leaders in such and such space. I got mixed feelings about that. But from your perspective, how does when a company positions itself or labels itself as an AI leader in their industry, uh, how does that impact their ability to really attract top tech talent?
Well, I mean, who are these companies? Are they the real leaders, or are just like a lot of the city people that are calling themselves leaders? Right. I think that's a
Could
big
be any
question.
company that labels themselves, say, we are AI leaders because we just adopted leaders, and they just want to brand themselves as AI leaders without, sometimes very loosely, without any kind of use cases or real proof. They just want to brand themselves as AI leaders because they adopted such and such and such new platforms, and they use that branding of themselves to attract top talent. They're trying to use that self branding as AI leaders to attract tech talent. So the way I see it is, it's really not exactly a successful formula. So how do companies have to? What do companies need to know, or how do they need to brand themselves in order to really attract really great AI engineers or AI tech talent for to uh, to remain current, to remain competitive?
Yeah, well, I think this is, I'm going to look at it from our perspective at the AI operator, so not maybe from AI engineering about product and tech, um, because that's a fight that a lot are going to lose, right? Because we saw what Meta, right, Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg did, and it was, there was $1 billion deals, there was hundreds of millions dollar deals, there were $1 billion almost deals of
Hmm.
bringing in teams from others, and they keep trying to to take people from each other. They poach from different companies and so on by throwing a lot of money at them. And
Hmm.
I think that that's definitely not going to work for a lot of people that doesn't have that money, right? And what we see is those people that went to Meta for those monies, a couple weeks later they were like, oh yeah, I don't like it here. They went, right? Even now, one of the top guys in the industry is leaving Meta, right? So the money is not the thing, right? And it's not calling yourself a leader in AI that is going to bring people over whatsoever. It's actually a
Hmm.
real the mission. Your real mission, if you do have a mission, and it's not just monetary, right? You're gonna get troops now, wanting to come to you, right? Because I think that we have passed what we've seen from these big AI companies. We have passed the stage of hyper growth, right? Because these companies are now huge companies. So the money is not even the matter, is the mission, right? And when you read, a lot of people are like, yeah, we love OpenAI because it's mission driven, right? A lot of people, at, I'm gonna say it, but hopefully, Ellen, you're not watching this, or if you are, I'm sorry. But Elon Musk, being much more aggressive with his strategy, a lot of people don't like it, right? And potentially building something that is very uncontrolled,
Hmm.
is not what a lot of people wants to build, right? So I think that we're all gonna start seeing these little bunches of mission driven companies, right? And these are not most of these are not even going to call themselves as leaders, because they are automatically the leaders, right? Because when you say I'm a leader, you're usually not a leader, right? So somebody else has to say that you're a leader. You never say that you're a leader, right? Because if
Hmm.
I say I'm the best, potentially I'm not really the best. I'm just showing off and I'm trying to market myself. But when somebody else, a peer, says, "Oh, he's the best," you're like, "Oh, okay, he's really good," right? So
Hmm.
so I think that this self ego and calling yourself whatever is not going to bring the talent, right? But the second others can label you as a leader in the industry, as a mission driven company, right, you
Hmm.
are going to, yeah, you're not even going to go try to recruit, because your door, they're going to be knocking on your door, they're going to be like, hey, I want to work with you, right? So I think that we
Hmm.
have to start taking that approach now, and be much more mission driven and focus on on where we're going, and where we want to
Hmm.
go with this technology. This is a huge technology. It has, yes, a lot of downsides that it might bring, but the upside
Hmm.
is so big that we're gonna have to push through to get to that upside, to that upside. Even the downside in between might slow us down or might hurt us, right? So I think it's very
Right,
important to think about mission.
right, right. And I was kind of reflecting, I was intrigued by today's topic or theme, which is, as as we're showing the viewers for here on screen, escaping AI pilot purgatory, right? How smart teams turn AI confusion into talent advantage, right? Okay, so thinking about this title is when you're, let me ask you this, when you're helping companies escape pilot purgatory, what you call pilot purgatory, what kind of technical expertise do they typically need to bring in to scale successfully?
Well, it's a great question, but I think the technical skills needed are diminishing every day, right? They're reducing every day, right? We saw with Gemini 3 Pro. It's like
Mhm.
I could single shot a full application that has AI features. Wow, I'm not technical. I wasn't technical. I actually wasn't technical until the beginning of this year. I was very operational. I was a very business. I come from sales and marketing and from growth, right? And I was in ops. Then I was CEO. I've never been a developer. I've never been a technical person. But in the last year, and I'm sorry, a lot of developers hate me because sadly, and I say hate, it's a very strong word. Maybe I shouldn't say it like that. But I had a YouTube video where I was a guest, and on the comments, I read every comment because I answer every comment myself, even if I'm a guest on somewhere else. And people were like, "Oh, this is bullshit. We can do better, and we're technical. He's not technical. He doesn't even know how to code and things like that." And then but I built a whole business in helping others actually get good at AI. And then and a lot of technical people are really not understanding that it's not the technical skills anymore, but it's more the business skills. It's more
Mhm.
the community. This is more the community driving. It's more the marketing. It's more the growth. It's more the communication skills, the soft skills that are going to matter, right? And we're seeing that switch massively, right?
Mhm.
Because and also, to technical people, you guys are the ones who are building these tools, and then it's like, and then you're upset because the tool gets really good at coding, right? And a lot of people are going to tell me, they're going to message me after this podcast and go like, "Oh, you're not right." It's fine. I don't want to be right.
Mhm.
I'm writing my own thing, and I'm doing what I'm doing. And AR Operator has been growing massively because we take it from a human approach and not just from a technical skill approach, right? Because technical skills, as I mentioned, now, and I'm going to say it, if you went to university for I don't know how many years in computer science, right? Now you could get those skills if you just put head down for 3 to 6 months, right? And you tried cloud codes and you tried all these tools and you told it, hey, explain to me what we just did, right? First of all. And second of all, the reasoning, right? The thinking of these models, a lot of the models says thinking or reasoning, right? If you start reading that reasoning, if you start reading that thinking, you're learning much more than university, right? You're
Mhm.
learning much more than wherever you could get that training, right? So I think it's very important to not just focus on the technical skills, but also to focus on your soft skills and to focus on, who are you as a person, as a human in this mission, right? And do you have a mission, right? If you don't have a mission, I think that you're going to be lost very quickly.
Yeah, you definitely got me at the soft skills part when you mentioned soft skills, because I consider myself to be an advocate of fostering soft skills, especially in tech companies. So I guess that would inevitably lead me to the next question that I would like to ask you is, what are, from your perspective, what are the most critical soft skills that the companies need to focus on when they're serious about AI transformation?
No, it's not. It's only one. In my view, maybe it's hard. Like, it's very strict, but it's one. It's curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yeah, that's it. Because what you learn today could be completely different next week, and in 2 weeks we're gonna get a whole new model, and we're gonna get new features, and we're gonna get new things. And it's like, if your team members are curious, they're gonna learn, right? And they're gonna get new things, and you're not gonna have to be like thinking about, oh, are they outdated? No, because they're upskilling themselves automatically because they're super curious.
Hmm.
I think we're doing okay, right? Because I'm a very curious person, right? I got here because I think I'm a very curious person.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, curiosity is indeed something that's needed. I consider myself to be a curious person, but I also believe that, and this, I would like your opinion on this. How about other soft skills, like, for example, patience or ethics, or I don't know, something because it's very tempting when you have so many powerful AI tools out there that people can make really good use of. But there's also the opposite. There's also the opposite side of using AI not for not so good purposes. So, what other soft skills are required in order to be successful in any industry, in any company, besides curiosity? Or do you think that just being curious is enough, or is there something else that's needed to be successful? What would you say about that?
I, something funny just came to my mind. I think, is curiosity a meta soft skill? Because if I have curiosity, I could get other soft skills as well, right? Because if I'm curious about another soft skill, I potentially can get other soft skills, right? So if I'm
Hmm.
curious, I could get there. But uh, I think you mentioned ethics. Yeah, ethics. Ethical awareness, maybe not ethics, but ethical awareness. I think is
Hmm.
important. Obviously, be ethical as well. But I think if you have ethical awareness, you can understand things and work for the right company and bring the right things to life and to features and products or whatever, right? Of course, responsibility, because I think that sadly, we are going to see a lot of people not doing this positive usage of AI, right? Sadly, there's always bad players out there, right? So responsibility and being responsible in what you're building and how you use it is going to be an important soft skill. And I think that you said patience, if I remember correctly, Carlos.
Patience,
Um,
yes.
yeah, so I think patience is a very interesting one here, because a lot of people get frustrated because they're like, oh, I tried something with ChatGPT, it didn't do it, and it was terrible at it, so they just give up, right? And they don't do it the week after, they don't do it 2 weeks after, they never try that again, right? But if you're patient and I tell you, hey, maybe you couldn't achieve that today, why don't you try it again in 2 weeks, right? Why don't you try
Hmm.
it again when the new model, when GPT-6 comes, maybe, right? And if you're patient enough and you wait, there's a 99% chance that AI is going to help you do that thing that you were that you couldn't do before, right? So I think
Hmm.
patience is a huge one, but also for sure critical thinking, right?
Critical
You
thinking. Okay.
Yeah, critical thinking is going to be a huge one, because we need to be able to check the AI outputs, right? AI is not perfect, guys. Luckily, it's not perfect, because if it was perfect, then I would say yes, fear it, because it's coming for your jobs, right? But it's not perfect. It's not going to come for our jobs, and humans are not perfect, right? Humans are not perfect, so we're sometimes judging, this AI, and we're not critically thinking. We're just judging it. We're like, oh, it's crap, or and it's like, oh, but you also make mistakes, right? I make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, and I like making mistakes, because if I'm failing and making mistakes, that means I'm trying new things. Right? And if we look
Hmm.
at it from there, and AI, and you're using AI and you're making mistakes, you're trying new things, and it fails, that's great, because that means you're pushing the boundaries, right? You're pushing the boundaries, you're learning, and then, as I mentioned, a couple of weeks later, something new might come, right? So I think that we, as humans, we are definitely going to see this partnership which we started, right? This partnership between the human and the AI, right? But if we're not ethical, if we're not responsible, if we're not patient, and if we don't think critically, and we don't check the outputs of the AI and so on, right? We are not going to have this partnership. We're going to have almost two enemies: the human and the AI, right? The human versus the AI, right? And that's where everything is going to be, gloomy and doomy or whatever, right? It's going to get dark, right?
Hmm.
So I think these are the soft skills, but again, I think I'm very biased because curiosity is one of my core values in our business as well. It's curiosity, simplicity, and efficiency, right?
Okay.
So we're curious, we learn everything, we try everything, and then we keep it simple, right? We don't complicate things, and then we make sure that everything that we build and that we train and we do, that it's all about efficiency, right? And by
Hmm.
putting these three core values, we've been able to grow where we are, but with curiosity as our number one. Is our number one guidance.
Hmm. Great. Uh, yeah. Well, Tim, unfortunately, we're running out of time, but I only have one more question to ask you. I know we're all excited, myself included. We're all excited about all things AI. Everything that's happening, it's exciting, it's thrilling, it's scary, it's everything at the same time. And even
Scary.
though a lot, yeah, and even though that a lot of us are even intrigued by it, and even if hesitant, but still intrigued by adopting it and everything. I can imagine that there could possibly be some resistance out there. So let's say that you find a team in an XYZ company that is resistant to AI. What would you say? Do you think could be a people problem, a training problem, or a hiring problem? I'd like to close with that.
I guess it's, first of all, I guess all, you know, but I'm gonna say it's a leadership problem, right? Because um, at the end of the day, is you're the leader. As the leader, you help set the culture, and but also, culture really happens when the leader or when the CEO is not in the room, right? So what have you built there? Is very important, and for sure, I think that the resistance. I don't think the resistance happens um, individually. It happens globally. It happens when each other kind of fears helps drive the fear forwards, right? So I think it's all, but the talent. I want to say something, since we're closing, maybe, is that the talent that you have, right? If they're culturally fit, right, and you've hired them and you've been with them for a while and they're culturally fit and you love them, but they don't have the hard skills or they don't have, the technical skills,
Hmm.
you're in luck, right? Because they can learn all of that, right?
Right.
But if you don't, but if you hire somebody brand new that has incredible technical skills, but is an I don't know how to say the word in a nice way, but a not nice person, right? And not culturally nice, or I was going to use a bad word for it, you're in trouble because they have technical skills. They're going to come in, they're going to poison everybody, right? They're going to be like,
Hmm.
I'm the best or whatever, I'm the best at AI and so on. And you're going to see everybody else not liking that. And they're going to start, taking them away from your culture, taking themselves away from your culture and what you built and so on. And what's going to happen is that you're going to have this incredible one person that maybe has all the technical skills, but doesn't have any human skills, right? And
Right.
when AI can do all the technical stuff, and what are we going to need? I think the most important skills again are going to be, human driven skills, empathy and all that kind of thing are going to be the most important things as well, right? Um, and the day that we need that, if you don't have those people and you just have a technically incredible, a prodigy, whatever, right? I don't think it's going to work out. So I would really
Mhm.
invest in your people. If you believe they've been the right people till today, they will be the right people in AI. You just need to help them. You have to hold their hand, and you have to help them make mistakes and learn and push the boundaries and get into this new era, which is the AI first era.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot we can be here for hours talking about
Hours,
this. Yeah,
yeah.
literally, like our AI is so exciting and thrilling, and it's everything at the same time, right? Uh, but I mean, unfortunately, we're limited for time, and but if you're watching out there and you want to learn more about Tim's work and what he's doing, what he's up to, I am assuming you are on LinkedIn, right, Tim?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I
And
think
it
you're gonna put the
is. Let me
ticker.
just
Yeah,
display it here.
that's it. Yeah.
It's okay. So you can reach out to Tim on LinkedIn at slash Tim Cakir.
Yeah, I think
Cakir.
Carlos, anywhere you put Tim Cakir or Tim Cakir, if you put TIM space CAKIR, ask ChatGPT, I'll potentially. I don't think many people has first and last name together. So you'll come to my LinkedIn. I'm active on LinkedIn every day. I have a YouTube channel where I share everything I know for free. Right, there's a newsletter. You'll find me in all other social platforms as well, including Instagram, TikTok, and so on. I have a mission is to help you all learn AI.
Perfect. That's awesome. And also, I understand that your company's website is
AIoperator.com.
aioperator.com.
Yep. Yes,
There's the
sir.
URL right here,
Yep.
aioperator.com. And also, if you want to reach out to Tim directly, you can just shoot him an email at tim@aioperator.com. Right? Right,
That's
Tim?
it.
Great.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Carlos.
Well, Tim, it's been a great pleasure. I'm just going
Sure.
to make a very quick announcement. I mean, we got a lot more very interesting conversations coming soon. One of them is going to be with the VP of IBM. That's going to be an interesting one. And so you're going to find if you want to see what's coming right here on Advancio Talks, just go to it's right there, upcoming Advancio Talks slash tech dash talks, and so you're going to be on the lookout for all these great conversations, just like the one we've had today with Tim. So Tim, thank you so much. Please, Tim, stay with me as we go off the air, and the rest of you guys, see you next week right here on Advancio Talks. Until next time, folks.
Thank you.